Somehow, some way, I actually ended up skipping like the first 3 minutes, and I realized it was like a recap. So I was like, nah, let me just skip all this. This was like a recap of episode 10. And so yeah, there was like a huge recap in the beginning, which is fine, but not really, bro. That took up what, 2 minutes? Plus, you gotta combine the OP. No, that's like 3 minutes. So yeah, it was like a 3 minute recap in the beginning, which is like, why? Like, this is episode 11. It was like episode 12. No, any given time, you give a recap, especially if it's only been like a week. Like, come on, man. It's even worse too if you're like marathoning this, and you have to deal with a 3 to 4 minute recap. But anyways, I somehow accidentally skipped the recap. So when I went back to watch it, I'm like, whoa, I don't need to see this. But then after all is said and done, this honestly was surprisingly good to the point where I'm like, wait, did the episode just end? It just really truly felt like I just started watching it. Like the whole entire time, Miku and uh Yukiya, they were just talking, they were just vibing. Yukiya was just trying to take care of his best friend and love interest, and Miku was just like in there monologuing about, wow, why am I such a piece of shit? I need to confess my feelings. I need to tell him how I feel. And of course, like, they're having these flashbacks. Everything to me was just so smooth. It was incredibly smooth. And then, he ends up hugging her, making her feel better, making her feel safe. Everything about this episode was just, I do believe it's a recovery episode. Episode 10, it was just ridiculous. Miku's spiel about being jealous and doing all this because of jealousy and then trying to get his attention. So she was in the right, self-criticizing herself and self-deprecating herself. Because we all felt there. We all knew she did wrong, but at the same time, she made it up in this episode. So she really did recover from her fumble. Like a lot of people were saying in the discussion, like, damn, this was probably the most intimate fucking kiss, but she just turned it into like a whole sob story, which is awkward as hell. Because yeah, they were literally just like smooching, kind of low key, high key smooching, like they were playing Pocky, but whatever. And it was like the most intimate moment, but then she just went off and started crying. Like, it was ridiculous. Episode 10, I gotta say, was the most ridiculous moment in a rom-com. But like, as I was saying, episode 11 completely recovered. She bounced back. Everything just feels so great. Everything was so smoothly done in episode 12. And I am thoroughly impressed of how quick this episode went. So I mean, okay, so the killer says getting sick in romance anime always makes things better. Oh, all right. So yeah, she got sick. And then he had to take care of her. Yeah, they were able to get closer because of it. Let's see. Yovo says this is some new levels of density. Yeah. I'd say because of how close they are, it did feel very thick and thin. I mean, very thick. I'll say no, thank you to any sequel proposal of this anime. Oh, at least we have our first hater. Oh, not a hater. You just didn't enjoy it. Oh, so Critical says the way they showed Miku's grandma's unobscured portrait as a stand-in for her grinning, while those two idiots there, the usual thing in front of her was a cute detail. Oh shit, yeah, you're right. You're right. Now that I think about it. Uh, Nate says you might think a confession is imminent, but you'd be wrong. But this is the start of a new and exciting chapter for our lovebirds, and we're about to enter the critical mass yearning point of the story where they both get super possessive. Sadly, we won't get to see that animated, but I think we'll be happy where they leave off next week. I mean, usually grow out of possessiveness. You grow out of it. Being possessive is not terrible in the beginning of a relationship, but later down you gotta just get over it. The gals never get over it per se, but us guys, we just need to get over it and realize that we don't own nobody. Long story short, Okay, so let's see. Kun says she really washed herself down with a door wide open. Okay. Great episode. Only one more. Yep. 3-minute recap at the start was about. Yeah, there you go. See? So I somehow. That was like a 4-minute. 3-minute recap at the start was about as unnecessary as it gets, but good episode. Yeah. That's the only thing that ruined this fucking. Like, if they need to cut it short, guys, if like in an anime you need to cut it short because of a recap, just fucking cut it short. Like make it a 20-minute episode. Fuck it. Play more ads in Japan for the TV shit. The actual diabetes of the season, I fear. Damn, even as trivial as the animation and hair movement, it subtly makes the romance more intense. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. So here's the animations are not the best, but several cuts, in particular, Miko's are excellent. Sound effects of the TVs and cooking work emotionally. This is one of the most impressive directions in the show. Yeah, I'm glad everyone just feels like we're on the same page here. Overall, great episode. It really felt so smooth. It felt so done. They just really connected. They really bounced back. They were really able to see eye to eye, and they're able to make up that weird ass awkward situation in episode 10.